Hello and welcome to Still Got Legs, a Doctor Who Rewatch podcast brought to you by Another Happy Studios. This week we're kicking off our journey and travelling all the way back to 2005, so come and join us as we watch Rose. We're here, Lawrence.
Hey!
We're finally doing the thing that we have said we're going to do for years now.
Fuck, this has been so long coming.
But what is this podcast, Lawrence?
So, for the longest time, we're two fans of Doctor Who. We've watched it since we were young little boys.
Supple little boys.
Supple young boys.
Yes.
That's not going to go well out of context. We've wanted to talk about Doctor Who for the longest time. We both watch random episodes of the show, just kind of as and when, and we figured the best way to revisit it, especially because I believe our favourite eras of the show differ, would be to watch it from start to current, and then keep up with it as it goes along for hopefully a foreseeable future, which looks bright in the Doctor Who world.
It does. We're on the cusp of a new era, RTD2, I believe, as the kids are referring to it, with a brand new Doctor. Well, the old Doctor, but you know, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
The Whovian flames are being ignited once again. So we thought, why not? What better time could there be than right now to rewatch this lovely and dumb and terrible and great and everything else show that we love so much.
The highest highs and the lowest lows.
Oh,
ever
the
on
lowest
TV.
lows. And that brings me to this point. Now, we love this show, but we are going to make fun of it a lot because there's a lot to make fun of.
I think for a good 4 seasons we'll almost exclusively make fun of it.
Oh, for a lot, we'll make fun of it for the entire way through because there's always stuff to make fun of. But just know we do that with love because we do love this silly little show.
It comes from a great place of affection. And that being said, let's briefly sum up our relationships with Doctor Who. Where did we start? What do we like?
So I started watching Doctor Who during the second season. Series 2 when David Tennant started. The first episode I ever saw of it was New Earth. I enjoyed that so much that by the time the next episode rolled around, I had gone back and watched the entire first season. Didn't understand it when I first put it on. I was like, is this the right show? Because who's this guy? I don't know what was going on. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think Doctor Who was the first show that I ever really got into, and I think that's why it holds a special place.
Mine was similar. My entry point. I saw the end, and only the last 5 minutes of Parting of the Ways, the final episode of the first season. And specifically, what I saw, I was in my nan's house. Some of my cousins were there. They were watching the whole thing. I'd arrived a bit later, and I went over to the TV to hang out with the kids when the adults had their tea or whatever. And the first thing I saw was a man. And then his head blew up, and then there was another man. and I remember going home and asking my mum for DVDs of that show.
That's how we had to do it. We had to dust, well, not dust off, but we had to get out the DVDs back then. We couldn't just log on to Netflix.com or BBC iPlayer these days.
I couldn't 100% pay for my TV license and watch the show.
Lawrence, don't tell them.
All right, let's kick you off with a Russell T Davies classic crash zoom from Earth's exterior into London. The first of many to come.
I was going to say, he is going to get some mileage out of that shot that he had made up from, like, the VFX department.
Yeah, I think, so the first thing I noted was that Rose is working in a shop. It very much seems like just a 9 to 5. She's kind of got, maybe lost her way a little bit. She's kind of not got much direction.
She's 19. She's only young.
Yeah, but she makes a big thing later on. But no, she's working there, and then the most interesting thing seemingly to happen to her in the history of ever is a collection of shop dummies come to life.
Yep.
She thinks it's students. I would say that is expert level flash mob planning, which students are probably not capable of.
Yeah.
The dumb thing that I mentioned, and I've never actually noticed this before, was that Wilson, who she is looking for to give the lottery money to, is the chief electrician, and his his office has an electrical hazard sign on it.
I saw that, yeah, I noticed that.
Just to communicate that he's the electrician, but in real life that means that his office is hazardous.
Yeah, his office is just a room of electric, and if you go in there, you will die.
So you'll just get fried.
Yeah.
Imagine my man just trying to have a nice refreshing sip of water in his office, dead. But also, one thing that I also overlooked, and this is said to us point blank, for some reason it's the chief electrician's job to collect the lottery money at the end of the day.
See, I never understood this lottery money thing. Like, I assumed that, like he'd bought a ticket through someone else or something, and they'd claimed the money for him. It's a weird choice. Like, I feel like they could have had any other reason for Rose to go down there.
Maybe they had a whip round. Maybe the World Cup was on, and they all got a team.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe. Wilson, the lucky electrician who's dead in his office, is waiting for that money. Then the doctor comes in, Nathan.
The man himself, the hero of the show, except not really, because Rose is kind of the main character of this episode anyway. A necessary and good change that they made for this, I think. But yeah, the man himself shows up. Lovely Northern Christopher Eccleston. What do you think of him?
Oh, brilliant. I think and I know they hadn't even really fleshed out the whole time war situation at this point.
Yes.
And that was something I was surprised as I got older to learn that wasn't like in the thing. That was something they made up for the gap to explain the absence.
Yeah, it was new.
I love the concept of once you have extra clarity, maybe not in this episode, but future episodes have informed the Ninth Doctor's character. And I think he plays a jaded man sick of humanity so well. Like,
yeah,
he's seen scope and scale to the point where it's unfathomable. And this silly little child running around him being like, you got to tell me what's going on, Doctor, what's all this? So he's like, you're an irritation at this point.
Yeah.
And then when she proves herself, that's when she kind of gains her value in the Doctor's eyes.
Kind of, yeah.
Because that's why he has a love, well, not even a love-hate, just a kind of purely dislike for Mickey, because he's useless under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least at the start of it anyways.
He doesn't really rise to the same challenge that Rose does necessarily.
No.
He's just more he'd rather like sit at home and eat chips than go along with the exploration. In this episode, I'm not saying that's his whole character throughout, just at this point that's what he'd rather do, whereas Rose would rather like get up and see actually what's going on, and he obviously relates to that and finds that interesting.
Yeah, but be fair, Nathan. Mickey hasn't got a under-17s junior gymnastics bronze medal, and Rose has. Sorry, I couldn't wait. I love that so much.
All right, so that is something that we often joke about. It's just one of those lines that we often quote to each other because of how funny and how dumb it is.
Yeah. The first of many, like, victorious speeches that kind of just fall flat as a pancake.
Yeah,
good. No, overall, Christopher Eccleston, while not my favourite Doctor, a very interesting take on the Doctor. And I think possibly, I would say maybe the most unique spin of the Doctor.
Yeah, quite possibly. Obviously, very short, a very brief stint that he had, but, very memorable, really good performance that he does. There's honestly really nothing bad I can say about Chris Eccleston as Doctor Who. I think he was a good choice to bring him back, because it was also, Doctor Who can often be quite weird, and like if the show was brought back with like a Matt Smith Doctor, would it have been as successful? Straight away you're introduced to this absolute fucking lunatic who's who's running up the walls, and he's putting on different hats, and he's having the time of his life and everything, or the fact that you've got this very grounded, more stubborn working class kind of guy hailing the ship. I think that's a good choice to lead us off, to get people on board with for the first part.
This may seem like a weird segue, but stick with me for a minute. Okay. We have both resided in London upon a disastrous and horrible terrorist event.
Okay, yes, we have. Yeah, several, in fact.
Have they ever shut off the entirety of central London, to your knowledge?
No, never. Like, within, like, they'll shut off that street, but then, like, within an hour, it'll be back up and running again.
They'll be like, oh, we couldn't see any bombs.
No, it's all right, I reckon. We can go down.
Yeah. This is just I mean, like, there's no sinister thing to it as well. It's a shop fire, which they're on the news being like, the infrastructure's pretty much fucked at this point. Like, it's gone. But I just love that it's like, we've shut London.
And shutting, I don't think people really, if you shut down all of central London, like the amount of damage you're gonna do, like the amount of shit that's run from central London, mate, like infrastructure's on its arse at that point.
Also, unless you evacuate, you can't. People live there. It's not just big offices. Like, people live almost on, like, every single street in London bar the main shopping ones. There's probably a house or two.
Probably, yeah.
We are introduced to secondary characters, which this era of Doctor Who is famous for. That being Jackie and Mickey. Two very, very fun characters. Jackie in particular has just, like... Every scene when you're in Jackie's house, she's just destroying everyone on the screen.
Yeah, she's great.
She's leaps and bounds above of what's going on because she's just got the comedic timing of a fucking legend.
I don't know how to say this without sounding harsh, but the way she just puts Rose down, just like without even really meaning to, it's like, it's mean, but it's so funny as well. She's like, honestly, it's aged her. It's just... The delivery from Camille Curdy is great. She's really good.
Couple of favourite lines from her. Skins like an old Bible. That's a good one. And the other one is not so much a line that's funny, it's more the delivery and the circumstance. Rose's job has been blown up. She very almost died. Her alarm goes off the next day and her mum through the door shouts, "No point getting up, sweetheart, you got no job." Just a very much like a very working class, get off your ass and go and make some money attitude. And it's like, maybe give her one day to recover.
I do really like the working class nature of the revival, and I don't know, there's just something about it, like it's on a council estate, it's clearly a very working class family. They're not like sitting in like luxury apartments and you know fucking.
It looks like a tiny 2-bed thing.
Yeah, tiny 2-bed council flat. Probably Jackie's probably on benefits. Like it's it's a very real depiction of what is not obviously London because it's Cardiff.
It's what more families look like than not.
Exactly, and I do like that. I think it just adds a touch of relatability to the show, really, which is always good.
No, absolutely. The Doctor's doing all kinds of goofy stuff, reading a book in 2 seconds flat.
He's reading a book, he's looking at his ears. They get the classic Doctor Who thing where they can go, let's fucking roast this guy right now.
What is the defining trait of this actor? Because we'll fuck them over with it.
Yes. Any insecurities, if you have one feature that is slightly abnormal, you best believe we're going to get some play out of that in the writer's room.
One note I have is the Doctor visits Rose at the house. He's tracking down the Hand. The Hand is tracking down him. The Hand hasn't made much progress because it hasn't left the living room. But the Doctor has tracked the Hand and he's arrived. Mickey does the same joke that she assumes the Doctor's doing, where she's like, it's choking me, kind of all that stuff.
Men are all the same.
Yeah, and Rose does, you give a man a fake hand. That's not what men are doing with fake hands.
No, we're jerking off. Anytime you give a man a fake hand, he's going to wank himself off with it. You can laugh because you know it's true.
I just thought that was a very innocent line from Rose.
Well, it's a kid's show. They're not going to have Mickey just like fall on like, oh, Rose, look at this.
Look at this, I'm jacking it, Rose.
Rose, you're not looking. Rose, look. I'm
Rose,
look at me. Oh, that's a bit too close to no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A very innocent moment from my fiance while watching this, and I just wanted to share it with you because I thought you know her, well.
I do know her well.
So Rose goes to Mickey's house. She's like, I need to find out more about this doctor. She's like, let me use your computer.
Yeah.
She goes, can I use your laptop? And Mickey goes, yes, you know where it is, in my bedroom or whatever. And then he goes back to doing whatever he was doing, and he goes, don't read my emails. He panics a bit because Rose is going to look on his computer. My fiance's reaction to that was, oh, he's going to propose. And I went, and she went, he's got like an email thing like about the ring or something. And I went, no, he's been wanking.
Yeah, he's massively been wanking.
That's how they did it in 2005 on the dial-up or whatever the fuck. That's so naively sweet. I know, and I did, and she looked at me, and I looked back at her, and I went, "Let's go in later, by the way." And she went, "No." So if she ever listens to this, I apologise, but it was too good not to say.
What you got next on your silly little?
Well, Nathan, it leads us to what does Rose discover, Nathan? If not some Photoshop pictures of Christopher Eccleston.
So she goes to see Clive, everyone's favourite character in the show, I guess. I
like Clive. Clive's good.
Clive's a funny conspiracy theorist kind of bloke. I do love this scene purely just for the terrible Photoshop in the JFK picture. It's so bad. Even by 2005 Photoshop standards, it is so bad. And I know that because even the very next photo they do is so much better than that one. Yeah.
I think the way they could have got around that is they had one that was like from fucking decades and decades ago, like over centuries ago, and it was a drawing. It was just a washed up drawing of the Doctor, and I was like, that looks so much better than what you did.
Yeah, it's not good. I think that the budget for this, like when it came, it was probably like £10.50. Like it was. They would have given this show the smallest budget ever when it came back. Really.
Yeah, they go to see Clive, and one thing I noticed, and I've never noticed this before, is that the Doctor is pictured, obviously, at the assassination of JFK.
Yeah.
Implying the assassination still took place.
Oh,
it's just a nice Sunday for the Doctor, was it? Just front row seat to watch a man's head get fucking blown off.
He'd obviously know what happens. He'd know about the assassination.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So he just went there?
So I just guess at one point he got curious and went, I've never seen that. Oh well, might as well pop along.
I wonder how that played out. There are very famous videos of that online as well. That the Doctor was like, they don't satisfy me. I need the real thing.
No, I want to see Jackie grabbing those brains for myself. Okay.
Jesus. Yeah. Let's hope our main listenership on this podcast isn't the Americans. Sorry. I don't know if you guys liked him. Was he good? Was he bad? I don't know.
I think he was okay. I mean, I don't know.
I thought Obama was good until I see apparently he's a war criminal. I don't know.
They're all war criminals.
They are. Yeah, the nature of the job is a war criminal, I suppose. Yeah.
And now that I've alienated our entire US listenership, how do you feel about... Because this is set in London, but it's very clearly not London for the most of it. It's very clearly just Cardiff.
Yeah.
But they're like, we'll shoot this one scene in London, but then the rest of it is all in Cardiff. And I think to most people, that's not obvious. But to me and you who have lived in London, it's very noticeable. How do you feel about that?
My childlike self didn't fucking care.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And when I watch it now, I nitpick it to the same degree that, like, the Photoshops look dumb, but my childlike self didn't give a shit, because I was told, that's the Doctor, a thing in history, and I went, oh, he's a time traveller, oh. Like... And I try and keep that to be my relationship now. Also, I'm very conscious that it was 2005.
It's not really an issue. It's just something that like I'm always aware of. Well, I'm aware of it now. Like I say, I wasn't when I was a kid at all because I'd probably never even been to London when I first started watching this show.
Oh yeah, I suppose not. Yeah.
But now at this point, I'm like,
Plastic Mickey.
Oh, I hate it so much. I hate everything about it. Why doesn't Rose notice or say anything about it?
Yeah.
He is shiny, Rose. He is shinier than a fucking newborn baby. What are you doing?
His complexion is darker in certain scenes as well. Yes. The second scene he's in is darker. Just a couple of little things. My note was I could forgive Rose not realizing Mickey is plastic if they kept up the relationship they have, which is that Rose is a terrible fucking girlfriend.
Yes.
She does not pay attention to him, and she's talking about herself 24/7. I could get over that if they didn't put them face to face in a restaurant.
I've always been annoyed by that restaurant. Mainly because it's too fancy. They're like, say, should we go get a pizza? And they're suddenly at the most fancy restaurant where you can apparently get champagne at a pizza. Like, what are you? These are working class people as well. You just go to like the local takeaway and get a Donna pizza from Bossman or whatever. But like.
Yeah, it strikes me as like it looks more like an upmarket Pizza Express.
It just didn't feel in tune with the rest of the show. Once we've left the incredibly fancy pizza cafe restaurant, we then get our first real look at the box itself, the magical blue box, the TARDIS.
What do you think of this TARDIS design?
Hate it. Don't like it.
Exterior, classic.
Oh, classic exterior. I can't go wrong. It's a big blue box. It's what you want. It's what you want from it. It's great. Interior, I don't like it.
What is it? Is it the half set thing that you don't like?
I don't like the half set, yes, because it just reminds me too much of a sitcom stage, and you can only ever film it from one angle, and it really limits what you can do with it. That was never really a problem for me until like I saw what they could do later on down the show. But it's limited in that capacity. And then the TARDIS and the console itself, I don't like the lighting of it. There's something about that kind of orange and blue which I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right.
Do you like a cleaner TARDIS?
I do. I like a much cleaner TARDIS. This is my issue. My main issue is the console itself, because it's just a mess. It's just like there's no part of that console where I believe it's an actual functioning machine.
Fair enough.
And I feel like my biggest issue with it, and this is more not necessarily from this episode, but as the show goes on, it's like things change, like the controls and stuff. Like at one point, Christopher Eccleston will use like the pumpy thing to do one thing, but then the next week it's doing something else.
That's just because every act. Then there's no TARDIS. This is what the TARDIS does.
No, but I feel like there is as it goes on though. As the show goes on, I feel like if you're doing it, you should map out what these things are, and I feel that is something that is definitely fixed as it goes on. I just don't believe it necessarily. It seems like it's designed, but not designed.
I see that. I know where you're coming from. I think personally, I like it. I think it's I prefer it when the TARDIS is a bit dirtier. I think it feels more at home for like a ragtag alien with no home. No, I like the idea that this is as he knows the last TARDIS. This is a TARDIS that has been thrown together, and it is basically fucking shoestring and fucking hopes at this point, because no one's doing maintenance to it. If it's fucked, then he's lost his house and his main mode of transport. Yeah. So I like the fact that it's patched with like there's just a hammer that you can just fucking smack shit with when it's playing up, and it's like, oh, makes me feel a bit gross when the TARDIS is later revealed to be a lovely woman. But no, ultimately I think I like it. I would have loved to have seen this set as a full set as opposed to a... Yeah. I love this design. I do feel the limitation of the framing, yeah.
The worst part of that limitation is when they do try to show you the other side of it, and it's very clearly just like CGI stapled in shots.
Yeah.
Or just the same bit, but just they've flipped it around.
Yeah. They've literally taken the shot and reversed it in whatever the fuck they edited this on, yeah.
Yeah. The Doctor Who trailer maker.
I love Rose's reaction to it.
It's great.
It's understated in a way that I think fits the drama of the show.
Yeah.
It would be so easy to be like a prize bigger. What? Oh my god! But it's not. You see it. It's clear that Rose is looking at something she can't comprehend, and then that's echoed by when she runs around it, checks the four walls, and kids are like, "What's going on?" It holds the suspense, and adults are like, "Oh yeah, it's bigger on the inside." Yeah. So yeah, no, I think it's a great reaction. But Nathan, can you tell me what anti-plastic is?
No, I can't. I wish I could, Lawrence, but it's thing that make other thing go away.
It's save world juice.
Yeah, it's save world juice. Don't worry about it.
Let's count the MacGuffins on this podcast. I think that would be fun. Firstly, the sonic screwdriver.
Oh my god. The first and only time the sonic screwdriver has had a big wavy blue line come out of it.
Yeah.
Never seen again after this episode, I don't think.
No, just an LED, like the toys.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved my sonic screwdriver toy when I was younger, because it was essentially the prop. It was like a replica. Mine didn't do anything. You know, like the squareness gun that Jack Harkness uses to like...
Yeah.
And it has like a big square thing that comes out of it, like an effect.
A big square ray, yeah.
You couldn't replicate that, but if I turned off my lights and it was dark enough, I could make a blue thing on my door handle and go, "Oh, I'm the Doctor." What do you make of the Autons themselves? The design of them.
It's hard to get wrong. They're just window shop things, aren't they?
Yeah, but like the way they walk and stuff, like the...
Yeah, they're not very threatening, really, because they're just... they're like I know they shoot Clive point blank, bless him, like right in his face.
In front of his kids as well.
In front of his wife and kids. Yeah. Just fucking put that man down.
Also, Clive looked down the barrel of an Auton's gun, having spent his entire life believing in alien conspiracies.
Yeah.
And just goes, I'll stand here, I think.
That's what he got for it, yeah. Nah, mans was punished for for believing, I guess.
One of my massive things about this is I would have fucking loved. I understand they established the stakes. A funny side character in Doctor Who always dies to establish that there's danger.
Yeah.
It's almost in every single episode. But I would have loved to have seen like Clive get like a Wilf treatment where like he sees them in the blue box flying high and he's like, maybe the Doctor's an alright bloke after all. Or maybe, hey, he's kidnapped that woman.
He's help. Somebody call the police.
Fuck, someone fish an old drawing from him from somewhere so still no one can believe me.
That would be great.
He's got actionable fucking intelligence on the Doctor as well.
He does as well. I mean, it never fails to make me laugh that in her quest to find Clive and the Doctor, she just goes to not Google and then just types in Doctor. She's like, this will do it, I reckon. This will get me what I want to know. Yeah,
it's very Google searching is an art, and that's not how to use it. Sorry, I think it was search.net is an art.
Search.net or whatever it is.
And imagine a world where Clive survives and then he comes back as like the Lee Evans character in Unit that's obsessed with the Doctor.
Malcolm, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great, but no, unfortunately, he gets shot in the face.
Yeah. Hashtag bring Clive back is our first demand of RTD2.
R.I.P. Clive, the first to die, gone but not forgotten. Except he is forgotten because he's not in the Journey's End flashback of all the series characters that have died.
I mean, to be fair, the Doctor didn't know him.
No, he should have known him. He knows about everything else. He knows about JFK getting killed.
Yeah, but he didn't meet Clive, so...
That's true. I suppose no one knows Clive is dead. Except his family. His family are painfully, traumatically aware of it.
Great.
I'm out of notes. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to say on Rose.
Well, the episode or the character?
Just the episode in general, I guess.
The episode in general. I think it's a good and fun starting off point.
Yeah.
It's cheesy. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. And if I watched it as like the first episode of a TV show today, I almost certainly wouldn't continue.
I'd pay so much money to rewatch the show with fresh eyes today.
Yeah, me too. It'd be interesting to say the least. But I feel like I need a fail safe in that deal though. Where like if I didn't like it, I get my memories back because then otherwise I'm just Who-less forever.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I think this is. I mean, I know you said it was a great first entry, but I think this is a good episode. I think this is
okay.
It provides necessary mystery. And
yes, I agree. It. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
It's no one's favourite.
No,
I get it.
No one's rushing back to rewatch Rose, but it does what it needs to do to set up the show and to start the intrigue and the mystery of who is this character and everything like that.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot more entertaining episodes of Doctor Who, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So one thing we absolutely love about this show is that there's always some weird, greasy character who will pop up. You're almost guaranteed to get some quotable weirdo no matter what episode it is, and I think that is the beauty of the show. It could be a background extra, it could be a little alien, it could be literally anyone who just says something weird. So we're gonna, as we go through this show, we're gonna have our favorite weirdos of the week. Do you have a weirdo for us this week, Lawrence?
So when I started this, I was consciously aware that I would have to pick a weirdo by the time the episode wraps. I wanted to avoid Clive.
Clive is the obvious choice.
And Clive is... I don't actually think Clive fits the criteria. Yes, he's a weirdo. He's a little shed man that is a conspiracy theorist, right? But he's also, bar minor details that he could never possibly know in a million years, he's bang on the money.
He is, yeah, he's
The
right.
Doctor is a time traveller. Or at the very least, the Doctor is a mantle and a moniker that symbolises death. And keep in mind, the only incarnation we saw of him researching this Doctor was the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah.
And that's probably true.
Yeah.
Because the Ninth Doctor is a jaded, pained man.
Yeah, actually, that is very true, for the most part.
So, Nathan, my weirdo of the week is the racist man who takes out his bins and gives Mickey a filthy stare.
Okay. Come on.
Because I think even in 2005, there's no place for that. And this is pre Mickey. This is pre Mickey becoming a plastic man.
Yeah, he's just a guy in a car, a shit car.
Yeah, terrible car. No excuse to give someone that filthy stare.
Yeah.
So didn't like him. He should have died. Clive should be alive.
I've never thought about it like that, but it is just a dirty look for no reason at all, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's literally just on the street in his car, and he's like, "Fuck, man." Yeah.
And they can't. That man's never seen again. I have to imagine it was written in the script. It's not an extra reaction shot they cut to. Mickey reacts to him looking at him. It was in the script.
And then his bin eats him.
Yeah, and then it's been yeah. So if anything, he's probably been inside training his racist bin to go out and attack young impressionable men of colour.
Right.
So it's racist bin man for me. Who is your weirdo of the week?
Racist bin man. Great. That's great.
I've caught you off guard with that one.
You did. You really did. I can't wait to find the Battles in Time trading card for him. Racist bin man. My weird of the week is probably not one that you would expect at all. Okay. And I feel like I need to clarify the criteria slightly for this. Just because they are the weirdo of the week this week does not mean they're always a weirdo of the week.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So that kind of implies you will see this character again, which you will.
I'm now thinking, who are the regulars?
My weirdo of the week is Jackie.
Okay.
Purely for the scene where she's in her dressing gown.
Oh, yeah.
Because like to her knowledge, this guy has just shown up to help with the ongoing investigation that has caused her daughter some ongoing trauma. Presumably, she almost died, and the very first, like, her daughter's not even out of earshot, and she's like, "I'm gonna shag this man right now, like right fucking now.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and have sex." And you know, fair enough, Jackie. That I salute you.
It's been years since Pete died. It was like
Well,
mid-90s.
or whatever.
Was it the 80s?
I think it was the 80s, late 80s, but yeah, it was the 80s.
My God, she hasn't had some in a while. I respect it.
Oh, she's hungry. All right.
How many strange men come through her door these days, other than Mickey?
Well, we don't know. We'll see Elton later on in season 2, but
Get ready for that one. The prep work I'm gonna do that will be the magnum opus of this podcast. Let it be said.
Quite early on as well.
Pavement nonce, your time is coming.
Every week we're counting down to pavement nonce.
It's the whole reason I'm doing this fucking thing in the first place. Well, thank you very much. If you've listened all the way through, we very much appreciate it. We're looking forward to doing loads more of these.
Loads more. At least at this point, over 150. We've got at least 3 years worth of content guaranteed. So,
and that's whether you're listening or not.
Yeah, here's to those next 3 years. But yeah, it's a new show, so if you could help out, just give it a rating. We'd really appreciate that. Obviously, 5 stars at least.
Yeah, don't be stingy with the stars.
Come on, what would the Doctor do? He'd leave a 5-star review.
He would. And then he'd go and watch JFK's head implode.
And then he'd rate that 5 stars on like Gallifrey TripAdvisor or whatever.
I'd love to see a scenario where they have like an index of like the top 10 places to time travel to. Yeah, no, as Nathan was saying, a share goes a long way. We'd massively appreciate any help in growing this show because it's an idea that we're so passionate about and very, very much enjoyed recording this one and can't wait to do some more. If you do want to check out more of these, there are actually 2 episodes that are already live because we have published the first 2 episodes together. So go and check out The End of the World, the 2nd episode in season 1. Which was a hell of a lot of fun.
But usually it will be every Monday, 10 a.m. UK time when we drop these episodes. So yeah, stay tuned. Keep on being groovy.
Give us a follow at Still Got Legs Pod on Twitter, and we will hopefully see you on our next foray into time and space.